welcome back to Virtually AWA. We have another great episode for you today. This is our fourth show since the pay-per-view, the Great British Bash, and we have some people who haven't been seen since that pay-per-view coming up on tonight's show. You've got Kip Sabian, will be talking to the crowd. You've got Foxcatcher in action again as he defends his British Championship against Alex Rancid, who, if you remember, cost him that match against Nick Flag all that time ago before the Great British Bash even took place. We've also got an update on Athena Fury, who we saw get taken out last week. And we, of course, have another match, which is Johnny Rose versus Thomas Billington versus Thomas J. Curtis versus Chris Cage, the modern-day Savage. So let's get into the show then. We kick it off with, as that mentioned, it is an injury update on Athena Fury. The events of last week are shown on the screen, and PT Crockett appears and tells the crowd that Athena Fury is working their way back to health and will be returning to the ring eventually here in AWA. Lacey James has been suspended for 3 weeks for what happened last week. Her actions went over the line, and PT Crockett is not going to stand for it, so we won't see Lacey James for 3 weeks here on AWA. This gets the show off to a strong start with a 20 rating. And we go into our first match of the evening. We have the bout that had decent reaction from the crowd, but terrible wrestling. Johnny Rose defeats Thomas Billington, Thomas J. Curtis, and Chris Cage in 10 minutes and 30 seconds when Johnny Rose pinned Thomas Billington with a high knee. And Johnny Rose gets a 20 rating for this match. Thomas Billington got a 23. Thomas J. Curtis got a 27. And Chris Cage got a 23. This advances the H storyline. Johnny Rose was unfortunately off his game despite the picking up the win. And the match got the crowd hotter. This got a 24 rating overall. Solid performance from us here at the Wolverley Sports and Social Club. As we go into another segment with PT Crockett. PT Crockett is once again in the ring, microphone in hand. He explains that following Johnny Rose's victory, he will get a British Championship title shot in 2 weeks against the winner of tonight's main event, which is, of course, Foxcatcher taking on Alex Rancid for the British Championship. Crockett also announces a match for next week, which will be a battle royal to determine the number one contender for the YouTube Championship title, and that will take place in the main event next week on the show. This gets a segment rating of 20. Again, another consistent performance from PT Crockett. And the show rolls on. We now have... Oh dear, I've put the promo in the wrong place. We're going to finish the show with a promo from Kip Sabian, but nonetheless, here we go. Our main event match of the evening. Foxcatcher defending his title against Alex Rancid. And in a bout that had decent reaction from the crowd, but terrible wrestling, Foxcatcher defeats Alex Rancid in 7 minutes and 31 seconds with a frog splash, picking up the 1-2-3. Foxcatcher makes defense number 2 of his AWA British Championship. He gets a 27 rating, Alex Rancid gets a 19, and this ends the G storyline between these two, and it gets a overall rating of 24. Solid performance from these two to end the show of sorts. We've got a promo coming up at the end of the show, which was meant to be before, but things happen when you book shows, and I don't think it's going to be too bad. Kip Sabian is a solid person on the mic, so it should end up all right in the end. 24 rating for this match anyway. The crowd are still hot as we go into our final segment of the show. And Kip Sabian appears in the ring. We haven't seen him since he lost in the finals of the PT Crockett Tag Team Cup tournament back at the pay-per-view. He obviously won that title shot against Nick Flag the week before that on our Go Home show. And he's come out and said, "They've told me I didn't need to be here and I didn't want to be here. I am a star and this company does not deserve me. I am too good for AWA, and I'm going to prove it when I beat Nick Flag in 2 weeks' time for that Commonwealth Championship. I am the best there is here, and I'm going to prove it when I knock off Nick Flag. He was a good champion. He has become weak. The longer he's held that title, he is just holding down that prestige of that championship, and I'm going to raise it once again when I take the title from Nick in 2 weeks' time." So we've got that match set for 2 weeks' time. Nick Flag taking on Kip Sabian for the Commonwealth Championship. This gets a segment rating of 28. Solid end to the show. And it ends another episode of AWA. So if you've enjoyed this episode, we've got a 24 rating overall. We've increased our popularity in 14 regions. As I say, if you've enjoyed this video, please like it. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode on this series. So we'll see you again soon. Thank you for watching.